It's The Perfect Union, the perfect podcast for the perfect country. Brought to you by your perfect host, Hank Thompson, for you, the perfect listener. Hello, everybody. Perfect Union is the politics wing of Winners and Losers Enterprises and Apocalypse training courses. Don't forget to sign up for our upcoming course, Shopping Carts, from battering rams and mobile cages to fish traps and fun for the mutant kids. Creative ways to use shopping carts. Shopping carts. They're not just for lugging around weapons and body parts. So sign up for that, guys. These spots fill up quick, especially in the quarantine and the pandemic. People are gearing up. Actually, we've never made more profits. I'm worth billions. But unfortunately, money will mean nothing during the apocalypse because we're going to be basing our economy on sauce packets. So, no good. Welcome to the show, everybody. Here we go. Goddamn, another week in hell, huh? Can't you wait to get this quarantine over so we can get back to life as normal? So we can get back to ruining the planet and destroying people's lives and minimizing suffering. We got to get back to when things felt good. God, can you believe that those were the good days? January, this nightmare country, this horrible, abusive, fucked up capitalist system of ours that we're trapped in. We're all hostages to. We're all fucking rowers in the hold of a pirate ship. Being our options are to keep rowing or drown, or we don't get to suck on the lime and prevent scurvy. And we don't get to do that either. It's not fair. It's wrong, man. It is. It's pretty crazy. This is a weird way to be alive, isn't it? Honestly though, my personal life hasn't changed a lot from in terms of, I don't mean like sex life, is those non-existent before. It's not. Actually, you know what? That's not what I was intending to talk about at all. There's going to be so much banging when this all is done. When we can get that social distancing down, back to 1 inch where it belongs. No, but I mean, like when people finally can get out there and hook it up. Maybe there's an F-buddy or a partner or someone you haven't been with in a while and looking for that first go-around on the merry-go-round after this is all over. That's going to be a lot of fun. People are going to have a good time. There will be a lot of babies coming out of they should be the government should be sending out condoms and birth control to everybody. We don't need more babies. What a rude thing to do to somebody, to force them to exist, especially in this planet. But people are going to be having a lot of fun, and I don't have that. I'm hoping to. Just nothing. I don't like. What do I do? Get on the apps? Just be like, "Hey, stranger I haven't met. You want to be the first guy that you hop on? Never get in there. Let's do it. Yeah, I probably had it. You probably had it. Let's just let it rip. But we can go cough at the down to the movie theater and cough just to stress everybody out. It's gonna be so strange. I don't know when this is going to be over. It's going to be earliest 2 months if we did it all correctly. And we definitely have done it all completely incorrectly. So it's not going to be 2 months. I don't know what I'm basing that on. But it seems like those countries where they actually had aggressive measures, like South Korea, especially, like they're kind of it's tapering off. Although I did see Singapore apparently relax their rules a little bit and has had another outbreak. So that's predicted. That's how it's understood that these things work, and that seems to, and it fits logically that you can't just assume everything's fine just because you hit that little lull, or you think that the numbers are dropping down. It's been really kind of obnoxious lately. We've been seeing news reports about in those last few days. Today is the April 9th, Thursday, and I've seen this week headlines and articles about. It looks like some data shows that the curve might be starting to flatten. Like, I get that we're all kind of desperate for good news. Everybody wants to hear that this is over. Everybody wants to hear that we can go back to quote-unquote normal, whatever the hell that's going to look like. But when America especially doesn't have any robust testing, in fact, there's even been some indications that Trump is looking to cut funding for testing now. That they're going to pull back on testing that support throughout the country. It's a huge mess. But that just because the curve is flattening, so now New York is losing like 900 a day, and so if they lose 870, they're going to be like, hey, not bad. It's just like amazing how the goalposts have been shifted so much in terms of what we think is, acceptable at all. Because data is noisy. It jumps around. trends are what matters, slopes and trends and plot lines, and that's the kind of more meaningful part of this. But I don't know how we're getting accurate data, meaning it's safe to, and I imagine the data analysts people do this professionally probably factor that in too, but we're not testing nearly enough to understand where to control this. And the Republican states and the states that are a little slow to do anything about it are, just setting in motion these ticking time bombs that will eventually, and it takes a couple weeks to incubate, and then you're going to have more outbreaks. There's going to be bigger outbreaks. Florida is going to be a nightmare. Florida has been aggressively spreading the disease. Not that the state has been doing it on purpose, but they haven't been doing any of the kind of lockdown procedures that's necessary. And it's going to kill a lot of people. The states where Biden insisted on having an election during the primaries, Illinois, Arizona, Florida, well, some of those people who went out to vote are going to die. Thanks, Biden. Good work, including the election that they had this Tuesday in Wisconsin, which is a big story earlier this week as well. So I'm just kind of rambling here. I didn't really plan this one out all that well. I do have a bunch of stuff picked out. I've got some old footage of Biden, meaning old from like a week or two ago, where I was going to get to it, but I didn't get to it in a previous show. And, so mostly we're going to be talking about Biden and Bernie. Yesterday was Wednesday. Bernie announced that he's suspending his campaign, and that hurts. That's a big one. I mean, I kind of expected that to happen. I don't think anybody at this point was surprised, but man, what a waste. What a missed opportunity this is. What an idiotic country we are. Could there be a better, more clarifying event than this emergency, than this virus pandemic, where that proves why we need to change course, why the course we're on is not doing anybody any good? The wealthy are hurting, but they're only hurting financially. Maybe some of them have caught the illness too, and imagine they might feel the occasional pang of fear that their housekeeper might get universal health care and be able to see a doctor. Could you imagine the nightmare? Can you imagine how much it must suck to have a lot of money, and then some politician comes by and says, your housekeeper should be allowed to see a doctor? What a horrible thing to have to go through. Pray for the rich. They need as much help as we can give them. Their housekeepers should not be at the doctor. They should be keeping the house. And if they're lucky, the garage, which is just the car's house. What the fuck am I saying? So everybody's paying the price for this, and we could use a robust social safety net, robust universal, which includes universal health care, free at point of use, comprehensive. It should cover every fucking thing that has to do with the body, vision, hearing, dental. It's so bizarre that teeth are not considered part of the body when we talk about health care. Oh yeah, the big hole in your face, that's probably like your most important. It's the hand of your head. Because dogs, animals, four-legged animals don't get to have hands. They got four legs. Well, they do. They have one hand. It's their mouth. So, and I think humans, our mouth was our original hand. We needed it. We use it to hold stuff. Our lips move around real nimbly. Like how a horse has nimble lips. Well, humans are also muscularly and similarly enabled because we interact with our prehensile tongue. The tongue is crazy, isn't it? You ever just stop and look at the tongue? Like imagine a 14-foot sized tongue guarding a cave. Just this big muscular monster. But also every once in a while another cave comes by and then the tongues go at each other for a little while. Very aggressive, but it's not. It's amorous. Use the thing to polish the bones on the side of the walls of the cave. Tongues are crazy. And then when you touch it, it absorbs chemicals and turns those into sensory flavors. Either I've had enough coffee or not enough. I can't tell anymore. I can't tell what's real anymore. Is anybody struggling with that a little bit? What's real? What is life? I don't think this is a simulation. I just think that our brains have all been rotted out by this insanity, this world. Anyway, that's me at least. God, what the hell was I talking about? So Bernie's out, and it's just it couldn't be a bigger missed opportunity, especially if we're going to be putting Biden up. If you think there is not a worse person. If you had said, Hank, pick somebody, it would more than likely be a guy, let's be honest, who would probably lose to Trump, who would be the absolute worst person to try to defeat Donald Trump. I would have said Hillary Clinton. She already lost once. No. She already. Hank, don't pick her. She's gone. You can't pick her. Oh, okay. Someone worse than Hillary, huh? Wow, that's tough. That's a tough bar to go. Joe Biden, far worse. He's got all of her corruption flaws, meaning as far as vulnerabilities. He's got a long history legislatively of being on the wrong side of history. So we're going to see a constant parade of people realizing and expressing themselves, both from the left and the right, I'm sure. The centrists in the middle, those who are deleting hashtag #MeToo from their Twitter bios, those folks are, they're less likely to do what I'm about to describe. But people are going to be saying, "Oh, I had to have crushing student debt. Oh, looks like Joe Biden was the chief architect of that. Oh, I had to have, I went to Iraq. I saw somebody on Twitter talking about they can't vote for Biden. Biden was a major proponent of Iraq. Biden was a direct threat to this person's life. Should you tell him he has to vote for someone who gravely harmed his potential and his future and put him in a very dangerous situation? He has every right to say, fuck you, I don't want to vote for that. And the sexual assault. Joe Biden is probably a rapist. If you listen to that audio from Tara Reid, it sounds like she's telling the truth to me. That's my assessment. I don't know what she would gain by making any of that up. It seemed very, very, very credible. She was a staffer in 1993. She worked for him. And the media has ignored that completely. Although that's about to change. I'm sure we'll see plenty of reports starting from the right wing, and then it'll emerge into the center and into the establishment media. And we're going to do the vetting of Joe Biden now that it'll get ratings. And now that it will... they wouldn't vet Joe Biden because it would have helped Bernie. So now that the possibility of looking at Biden's record will no longer help Bernie means it'll happen. And it's impossible to ignore. He is such a flagrantly terrible person. And as I see on Twitter, a lot of young women write, I was assaulted. And you're asking me to vote for a rapist? Or someone who I believe is a rapist? How could you possibly expect that person to pull the lever for Biden? And in a lot of ways, this is extremely nuanced. In a lot of ways, it's very simple. Because this is what that lesser of two evil voting is. Lesser of two evil voting is just reprehensible. Because it's also true. Meaning, like, Biden would be better than Trump. He would appoint, largely, in my opinion, largely because of the structural influence of the president. All the different cabinets and stuff. He would probably have appointed slightly more capable people to the EPA. They'll more than likely still be industry toadies, especially on finance. He's probably going to pull an Obama and appoint people like Timothy Geithner and Larry Summers and these like Harvard and these sort of high-end, upper-end managerial class fuckheads that are all part of the problem. Biden is loyal to them. He works for them. They pay him. But like an educate, like all the different departments are going to have more. I don't know. It seems it certainly be better than Trump. I mean, but like comparing him to the absolute worst possible person on the planet, representing the most extreme Western conservative movement. The America's Taliban has been running this place for so fucking long, and I'm so sick of living under these conservative ideologues, under their crazy strictures and their insane cultural influence, meaning like the way that we've all been taught to feel shame for needing help and individualism as a scourge on the psyche of people, like the emotional pollution that comes from a society that's built around consumerism and fear and profit making. It breaks all the different ways that our our psyche and our intuitions are like wired to feel connected. It's not what I was planning on talking about. But one of the things I think about a lot is porn or sex and violence in like the common discourse, like how much we freak out about sex if you see a boob or a butt. And luckily that's changing slightly over time. Seen a lot more wieners in movies and shows, and every time I'm like, all right, show me some wieners. Let's quit being fucking prude about this stuff. More boobs and butts and bushes. We're starting to see human bodies presented more and more in shows and stuff that it's, and all that stuff it's influential. That's how culture sort of is wrangled over the time. But violence is extremely normalized. Extremely. Every show, I mean, not every show, but like so many shows are about just graphic, bloody fighting, like close-up violence, far-away violence, guns, and then the cop shows investigating murder scene, all the ways that we just are so used to seeing pain and suffering and hurt and blood. If you were to try to say like which of those two parts of human nature, parts of human existence bonds people and which separates people? Well, sex, not that nudity, not that you see a naked person, you're immediately bonded to them. You know, if I saw a naked guy walking down the street, I don't think I'd be like, Mama, come here, Daddy. But sex, love, affection, nurturing, all that stuff is yes, it's cheesy. Oh no, God, it's cheesy. Here goes Hank again. But it's fucking bonding. It releases oxytocin. It makes you feel better. It makes you want to do it more. It makes you want to look out for that person, care for that person. You have an emotional experience with that person. And that realm is what we are taught to feel alarm and shame for seeing. Violence separates people. Violence is, by definition, like kind of a... And now I guess you could commit, if you want to get pedantic, you could commit violence in defense of somebody, and that might be bond. You know what? Yeah, okay. But violence, fighting, anger, all that stuff, which is so normalized and accepted, feeds into a fearful society, and it also just kind of numbs you to pain. You kind of get used to it. You don't even think about getting used to it. You just get, yeah, that's a bloody thing. I think that's one thing that's so heartbreaking and so hard to watch and also very rampant in America is the indifference that comes from that. That societally, we just don't look at someone else's pain as being worthy of our panic. And there's so much. You can't do it. You can't rescue every single person automatically just because you have a bad feeling or something. So we're sort of culturally conditioned to be separated from each other and not bonded to each other. So anyway, I don't know what the fuck am I talking about? Okay, all right. So here's some stuff I got to get through today. That's a great way. You can tell you're really into your show when you say I got to get through. But I've got a whole bunch of stuff prepped for the video version, some headlines and some videos. It's all going to be audio and stuff, so you don't have to be watching it. But check it out on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Smash. You're supposed to say smash. So most of the sound we've got today is Biden from the various talk show appearances he's done the last week or so. I've been clipping out tons of videos and stuff, but it doesn't make it into the podcast. I haven't yet settled into like a smooth workflow for this whole thing yet, but I'm working on it. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this and for commenting and liking and all the other shit. You know, you heard all that shit. So, but first things first, though, let's get into this real quick. L.A. smog has lifted. Here's a tweet from the Wall Street Journal. Water in Venice's canals have cleared. China's factories' emissions have fallen. And apparently it can all be seen from space. So the world is slowed down so much that the Earth is reflecting that in the quality of its air. One thing I'd like to know is this does this buy us like an extra year to stave off global warming? Like, does Earth have like a feedback rate or like a when it's not being stressed by constant human activity? Does it just mean that one day is what's gained, or does it actually kind of like heal in a sense where we have to keep doing the damage? Because we're going to get back to it. We're going to hurt the Earth. I'll keep going as aggressively as we can. I really fucking hope that we can come out of this with like, hey, maybe we could just chill the fuck out a little more. Maybe we don't have to constantly work. The reason we constantly work is because the billionaires and the bosses all decide that that's how much you have to work. We should be doing 4-day work weeks and shorter days. Not just from the pollution standpoint, but it's psychologically better. It turns out it's better for the bottom line for companies. They make more money. People make less mistakes. They feel more rested. They have more time to do stuff. But the resistance to it was, people are both bought into the system that they're trapped in, and that the decision makers will, I don't know if they necessarily consciously know it, but anything that improves people's lives, they're not going to be for, because that will take away power from them. If you're more desperate, they have power. So anyway, real quick here, the LA, so I clicked on the link. Coronavirus lockdowns clear the air, but the green effect could be fleeting. Oh, there's the answer. Some worry long-term environmental efforts will suffer as governments look to stimulate growth. That's another thing, too, is that the federal U.S. government has made it, said that the EPA won't be enforcing any rules. So polluters are dumping. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but this is like a window when companies have offshore money, they do repatriation holidays where they get to bring back their money at a lower tax rate. In a sense, this is kind of like, hey, guess what? We'll start regulating again in a few months. Maybe not ever. Oh, oops, we forgot to turn the lights off for the pandemic, and maybe we don't turn them on again. Or when we do, it'll be a lot lighter. We should not be. This government is run by industry, and so now polluters can go sick on the environment as much as they want. This is the Wall Street Journal. Then I went to read the article. The Los Angeles smog is lifted. Water and okay, I already read that. But of course, it's I'm not a subscriber, so I can't finish reading that. So that sucks. All right. Anyway, air is clearing, and it is pretty beautiful. Although just go outside, it's just terrifying. It's really weird. You go outside, it's really clean and beautiful. LA's had like more rain in the last few weeks than is normal for this time of year, and it's been kind of eerie. Although you don't go outside much now. I'm just staying in. Been going out to the grocery store, going on to the other grocery store, standing in the line with the other typhoid Marys. It's weird, isn't it? You go in, they got tape on the floors to make you stand 6 feet apart. I feel bad for the cashiers, man. Like everybody, all the people that are the quote unquote essential workers who are absolutely essential, but we don't treat them as if we respect them. They're not getting, I think some are in some places, but they are, they deserve so much more than this society offers. It's embarrassing and shameful. The real innovators, the CEOs and the real truly special people of the world have fled to their islands and their vacation homes. They're holed up in their mansions and their palaces. They're all fucking unnecessary. We don't need them. Labor shuts down and the economy tanks because labor is the source of value. Work is what creates value. And these motherfuckers, a few weeks back, Trump floated that we're going to all have to go back by Easter. Didn't want to, remember the cure is worse than we can't let the cure be worse than the illness. And that would have killed so many more people had they done that. Death tolls just keep going up and up and up, and they haven't done that. They're changing their course every single day. If you can figure out what the fuck Trump is trying to say at all anyway. He contradicts himself within the same sentence. He says everything, basically covers all angles, so it seems like whatever your bias is, you can pick up on that and apply it to your narrative. Fucking hate these people. Sorry, this podcast is going to be a little bit disjointed. So let's go to a video here. This is Joe Biden. So remember, I've been gathering these for a few weeks here, so we're already in about a week or more into April. So this is from the final week of April, March 24th. He's on The View. Oh, I picked this because the word surge, if you were alive during the Iraq War, paying attention to that, there was a big 2 or 3 or 4 years in when we had the surge. Everybody was excited because we were going to dump a bunch more lives and money into this horrible wood chipper of a nightmare and surge our way back to freedom and I think this is where the Battle of Fallujah happened. And so a lot of American troops had to go into the surge. And Biden is just a retail politician. He is exactly the kind of person that those who voted for Trump because they wanted an outsider, someone who wasn't like other politicians, even though Trump is as much like all of them. He's just a genius at manipulation. He's like a genius level con man. But the kind of politics that people reject when they say they're tired of the way politicians are exactly Joe Biden. He is a bullshitter, a liar. He just tells you what you want to hear in the moment. He's got natural charisma. He gives good speeches. This is more older Biden than current Biden, because this guy's got fucking Play-Doh melting out of his ears and his eyes, and whatever other holes are popping up on his head, probably through his hair plugs. Maybe that's how he grows hair plugs. Maybe that's hair plugs have gone deep, and those are just tapped into his brain, and his hair plugs, the roots go down and suck up his brain power. He is a great retail politician, so he tricks people into thinking he's looking out for them, and then he goes and he legislates and runs or governs on at the behest of his corporate donors. It doesn't. His words rarely match his actions, and then he'll tell you you're wrong. He's a liar. It seems to be much worse this campaign season, anyway. So here he is saying a word that he knows people have heard before, and will make it seem. That's another thing that people like Biden are good at, is they give the appearance of competence and that they're doing the right thing. There's all this empty pablum, very Pete Buttigieg-ish. If you're a good performer like like Obama, you can get away with it. Buttigieg wanted to be like Obama, and nowhere close. But here's Biden saying a bunch of stupid words.
We should be focusing on surging data, surging equipment, surging testing, surging all this information and all this capability around the country. That's the first and foremost thing we should be doing.
We should be surging. Yeah, he's right. More. Surge. Whenever you hear that word outside of government, no one's ever like, hey, yeah, I'll take some sriracha sauce. I'll tell you when. Just keep surging it. Surge it all over my plate. Surge it right into my mouth. Sriracha sauce. So I don't know. That jumped out to me, that word surging. He's clearly just...
Data, surging equipment, surging testing, surging all this information and all.
Thanks, Joe, you fucking rotten dumbass. This is The View. Let's just go through these videos. I'm just, I'll definitely have plenty of shit to say, but I feel like I'm supposed to stop and make some point, but I'm just going to keep going here. This was flagged. I saw a bunch on Twitter, people posting this, of Bernie was going to go on The View. I think this was Monday the 5th or something like that. And might have been this week. And this little teaser promo really went right to the point in showing exactly how the mainstream and the establishment press and the establishment interests look at Bernie. This is as dear leader propaganda stuff as I've ever seen, and this is The View. Here we go.
How does presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders answer accusations that he's politicizing the pandemic to push his Medicare for All agenda?
What? Politicizing the pandemic to push his Medicare for All agenda. So how could he answer the words are so loaded. And we're not even at the bad part yet. The words are so loaded. Accusation. How can he answer? You have to answer. Why are you politicizing? If you don't politicize a fucking pandemic, which is mostly preventable, there may have been a few hundred deaths that we could not have prevented. I would probably argue that that's unacceptable. But this was the vast majority of the people dying and suffering. And a lot of people have bad long-term consequences from COVID too. It can fuck your lungs up and stuff. You can have some lingering effects. We're preventable completely because of incompetent government. Although I don't even like calling them incompetent. Incompetent makes it seem like they had their heart in the right place and were intending to try and just screwed it up. That's not what this is either. This is incompetence from a malevolent perspective. They just don't care. Not only that, it fits in with the conservative ideology of choking government as much as possible, shrinking it down. That's so famous into the size it can drown in a bathtub. I don't know why that's not such staying power. It's kind of a dumb. It's a violent metaphor, I suppose. That's probably where people pick up on it. But the pandemic is a great argument for Medicare for all. If people didn't have to lose their jobs when they lose their health care when they lost their jobs, if people were able to go get tested and of course, the availability of this specific virus testing, but if we had a culture where people could go get help from the doctor, all the ways that people interact with the current healthcare system usually involves enormous hassle, enormous stress, lots of confusion, surprises, financial problems, if not outright debt, but if not that, then bankruptcy. So to imply that like you shouldn't be politicizing what's ultimately a political calamity, and as well as it's an environmental calamity too, by the way. It's been actually a shout out to my friends over at the Trillbillies. I hope we become friends. It's a show I like to listen to, good podcasts, great intelligent conversations, and the guy was talking about how this is an environmental thing. We are, challenging I'm no longer quoting the guy because I was about to sound stupid. I don't want to apply that to someone else. That this virus, it's not like this would have existed had there been, had humans not been aggressively screwing with animals and with the environment and the way that we manage the ecosystem, which very poorly. It's greatly accelerated by modernity, by globalism, globalization, I meant to say, and particularly in America by our horrible politics and our horrible healthcare system and all the different ways that capitalism incentivizes this, the way that people keep, or that entities maintain very low inventory. Oh, it wouldn't make any sense to have extra ventilators. That wouldn't make us money. Wouldn't make any sense to have extra hospital bed. That wouldn't make us money. Trump. Hey, okay, all right. Let's keep going with this. Here's a little more.
And that staying in the race could guarantee Trump another term. He's live on The View.
Look, guaranteeing staying in the race would guarantee Trump another term. So Bernie has to answer on this View where the drunk moms watch news and talk about Meghan McCain's emotional outbursts. Or actually, you got Whoopi Goldberg being very confused here too, coming up here. Super wealthy ladies. The conservatives on that show, though, are like just legacy inserts. Abby Huntsman is John Huntsman's daughter. I don't know if she's still on the show or not, but he was a candidate, I think, in 2008. Anyway, he's run for president. I think he was governor of, I don't know the state, but he was the ambassador to China for a long time under Trump. I'm not sure if it's still true. I hope that's true at all. I'm pretty sure that's the case, though. Pretty high profile. And then Meghan McCain, John McCain's daughter. She would have been on there whether she was John McCain's daughter or not. She's just that much of a talent, as you guys can all tell. So just listen to this one more time.
How does presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders answer accusations that he's politicizing the pandemic to push his Medicare for All agenda, and that staying in the race could guarantee Trump another term? He's live on...
He'll do the things that you hate. Seeing a doctor, like the implication of that first one too is like his Medicare for All agenda. How could he be pushing his policies that he's been pushing his entire life? And the one that would actually help and save lives. It would save, there's a report saying it would save 68,000 lives a year. So the numbers, the kind of two bookends, I guess, are 45 and 68. Those numbers are supportable. So the number of people who die from Medicare for all, or from lack of health insurance per year, 50 to 70 grand a year. Just dead Americans. Sad deaths, like abandoned by their country. It's so disgusting. I can't believe this. So here's Whoopi Goldberg. Now, this was actually the same day, but they're little fawning praise for Jill Biden. She's a doctor. Dr. Jill Biden. So you get an owie, you go to her. When you leave, no more owie. She licks it off. She's got a magical power. It's like a Harry Potter character. No, so here's Whoopi Goldberg suggesting that Dr. Jill Biden, she could be our next Surgeon General. This is her bamboozling the audience, people who trust her. She's paid millions for her political opinions here, by the way. to be a talk show host. Let's listen to what she has to say.
And Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife.
Yeah,
Because Joe Biden's wife, because she, you know, he would never do, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
Hell of a doctor. Top doctor in the country. Cover of Doctor magazine. She's the cover of Perfect. Is there any medical words that sound like 10? Perfect Stent magazine. All right. Top. She was the pull-out centerfold for Perfect Stent magazine. But then the others, so people are like, yeah, Whoopi, yeah, perfect. She's a hell of a doctor. Now, what would Whoopi base that on? What does Whoopi know about her long history in the medical field? All the surgeries she's done, all the babies she's delivered on airplanes during crashing, while crashing into a bus that's falling off a cliff? Huh? Has she seen all the vials of blood? That's what doctors touch, a lot of blood vials. Actually, their nurses and their assistants usually do. But she's a great doctor. Whoopi knows it. Whoopi's seen it. Whoopi wouldn't be. Nobody would be paid this much and have such a high profile if they didn't understand what they're talking about, right?
she's a doctor and
PhD.
yeah,
I could be wrong. I think
she's a teacher, but you know.
So that's good. There's a couple of moments here where her face, she just makes this face when she realizes she's fucked up. Uh-oh. Huh? She's like, yeah, she could be wrong. You are wrong, Whoopi. She's got a doctorate in education. Now, if I'm on a plane and it's crashing into a bus that is flying off a cliff, I want a real doctor, okay, to have my baby. I want a real doctor. I don't want some teacher putting her PhD hand up my hoo-ha and helping my baby get out of me so that we can order a Diet Coke before the bus and the plane crash lands onto a hovercraft waiting below. Actually, like 10 hovercrafts all holding a sheet between them like a fireman. Has that ever happened where people jump out and they land on the trampoline? I think that's a thing. I think that actually is it's one of those things. All right, so Whoopi's an idiot. I don't know what she's talking about. That whole show is just ridiculous. This whole world is fucking stupid. So this was a big interview. This is March 24th, so we're jumping back about 100 years in time. Joseph Biden was on this is the Nicole Wallace, former Bush press secretary, I want to say. She had some high-profile role under Bush. I did mark a bunch of stuff for this one here. We'll just go with a couple here things. Okay, I'll pick this one out. Let's see what he says.
You know, there was a great line that Lincoln had when General McClellan wasn't used in the Army. He said, if you don't want to use the Army, can you lend it to me? Lincoln said that to his general.
Wow, she has no idea what to say. She just if you watch her face during this, it is like watching the granddaughter of a senile, older beloved, it's not a bad scenario here, but a very patient granddaughter, watching someone in a nursing home struggle to get through their day while feeding them applesauce, scooping it off their chin. That's always a bad sign, right? Either you're at the beginning of your life or the end of your life when someone's scraping food off your chin and putting it in your mouth. These days, when I get food on my chin, you know what I do? I comb it out of my beard a couple days later.
Yeah. Can you lend it? If he's not going to use it, lend it to somebody else, okay? Be president. Yeah. You say you're a wartime president. Act like that. We cannot waste any more time.
Long pause.
I'm reading to my
It's so awkward. But her response is extremely sycophantic. Here we go.
8-year-old about Lincoln in the time of no school. But I want to ask you about that. I mean, one of your hallmarks not just as a politician running for president in this year, but as President Obama's vice president, was your ability to connect.
Shut up. Yeah, he's a real connector. Connect 4. I got nothing else to say about that. All right, this next marker. Let's just see what he says.
Corny. I'm so proud to be an American right now. Look at the way the nation is responding. Look at the way ordinary people are reaching out. Look at how they're helping. Look at all these doctors and first responders. I was talking to some of the firefighters. These folks are risking their lives. They're not. And I talked about
they're risking their lives. I would never risk my life for me and my corrupt family. Look, the doctors, everybody taking risks, they deserve our praise and our thanks and our proud. But you know what else they deserve? A fucking government that cares about them enough to send them lots of money and health care for the rest of their life, including everybody else. Material changes to their working condition. They deserve to have unions. They deserve to have worker representation on the corporate boards of the companies that they work. They are all the people working in grocery stores who we're calling brave and they are. I'm not trying to take any of that away, but a lot of them, it's because if they go unemployed, they're fucked. It's because the other side of having a job is this vicious tiger that will chew you up. You will be devoured by the stress of being unemployed. So you stick with the job that doesn't pay very well, that you have to work on your feet all day long, that you don't get health care from. You stick with that. And then now if you go to work, you risk dying. Grocery store workers have died from COVID. And this guy just gets to say how proud he is. And, and that's what's so fucking infuriating about it is that this is all we do. This is what I got into a little spat years back on Facebook with somebody about Memorial Day. I said some shit about it, like kind of cynical about it. And he misunderstood me, of course, and thought I was attacking the troops. And the point I was making was a parade is not a substitute for true healthcare, or maybe a political system that doesn't incentivize war and allows for leaders, quote unquote, to send young men and women off to die and be traumatized and have horrific injuries to tremendous waste and cost and global destabilization, and doesn't rehabilitate those leaders to be dancing fun bags on the Ellen show. Maybe if we had a system where we punish fucking leaders for going to committing war crimes, we would save some lives. But instead, we call it a parade, and people have their patriotism rolled up into a bludgeoning tool, a rolled up newspaper to smack the. I'm losing my metaphor there. I just get frustrated by this whole bullshit about how proud politicians are and look at how great, and Americans are pulling together. Human beings do that. Human beings look out for each other in times of stress. They also get scared, and they also start, especially in a time of misinformation and confusion, they might start behaving in pretty like that's something I think is a major threat, is a societal collapse that could come out of this. If the food system starts to break down, and it already has greatly, I'm sure you've seen it wherever you live, your grocery store shelves, your capitalism shelves filled with empty stuff. I thought that might be just the first go round, like during that kind of initial rush 2 or 3 weeks ago where people were stocking up on stuff, but it seems to be settling in. And we're going to see disruptions to the food chain and to the supply chains. And there's probably always going to be enough food in the aggregate, but they're not going to have the ability to fulfill all supplies at all times, which is what you'd call affluence in a societal perspective. It's very weird to see all that. I forgot what the hell. Why did I bring that up? I don't know. Let's just keep pushing that anyway. Here's another. This is one, I don't know, what the fuck. This is a while back. So let's just hit play and see what happens. I think this is one of the awkward interactions.
We have never failed to respond to a crisis as a people. And
he loves to say stuff like that. Like America is always overcome. Americans have never failed to respond. We've got a video more recent about that coming up here real soon. What are you talking about? What does that mean? Did the 3,000 people who died on 9/11 fail to respond? Like we failed them. We fail people all the time in crisis. The roughly 3,000 people who died in Katrina, and again, around 3,000 died in Hurricane Maria. This is this revisionism bullshit that like people like Joe Biden like to say, just because it makes people feel good. It's manipulative at best. That's the most generous interpretation, is that this is just pure manipulation. Let's start again.
We have never failed to respond to a crisis as a people. And I tell you what, I'm so darn proud. And those poor people who have lost Anyway, it's just my heart goes out to them.
No. Listen, we're
Fucking his brain just it's happening to me right now. His brain just had an aneurysm. It's blue screen? That's the word I was thinking of. This guy's like inside his head is just constant blue screen of death. If you're a Windows user, you'll probably cackle wildly at that hilarious joke. A little bit more, one more time of this, not the full one, but just more of the awkwardness.
But I'm so darn proud, and those poor people who have.
That's the alarm going off in his head. A bunch of factory workers like jumping up from their coffee table, like in the break room, like a bunch of goons in a volcano lair, spilling their coffee and their free Cheetos, their corn pops, rushing to try to salvage whatever alarm is going on. But it's too late. He's on live TV.
Lost, anyway, it's just. My heart goes out to them.
No. Listen,
my heart goes out to him. Shut the fuck up. Here's another one. This one gets awkward.
But most of all, I'd be protecting our docs, our nurses, and first responders, because if we lose them, we are in real trouble. We should be making those masks. We should be moving on those ventilators. We can do that. Why doesn't he just act like a president?
Okay. A long, awkward pause. I'm going to back up and do that one again, the last bit. I don't know why he objects to this. It's weird.
Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
Donald Trump was asked on.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, probably best I don't.
Oh my God.
All right, let me ask you this.
It's the worst. It's so bad. Why doesn't he act like a president? Like, it is kind of a dumb thing to say now I'm thinking about it. Like, what is a president? I don't know. It's just coming from him. Everything he says just sounds poorly thought through and bullshit. Ah, God. So one more time because it's fun. I love the awkwardness.
Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
Donald Trump was asked on.
Oh, my God.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, probably best I don't.
No. If I speak, it'll probably get some people killed. Best I don't. No, I just want to have the command codes to the launch codes to the nuclear arsenal to 7,000 bombs that could destroy the world many hundreds and hundreds of times over. But I can't string a couple sentences together on a fucking camera here in my basement. Oh, I fucking hate Joe Biden so much.
All right, let me ask you this, Donald.
All right, she jumps on there. There's one more. This one, I don't know what this is. This is another awkward one. Here, let's get this.
Oh, yo. I shouldn't.
Okay, we've got to back up a little more. Get some context. Sorry, I'm just rolling with this. And thank you for rolling with me. Here we go.
And now all of a sudden he is being tough on China. He's making sure, and now he's being soft on his xenophobia in the past. So I just can't figure the guy. I don't know. It's like watching a yo-yo. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's like watching.
It feels that way. I want to ask you. It's okay. I want to.
She has this big smile, this big that huge smile you make to ameliorate awkwardness.
It's okay. I want to.
It's okay. I shouldn't have said the yo-yo thing. I didn't mean to say. I meant to say pickup sticks. It's like watching tickets. It's like watching that one. Why is my Biden impression totally different now? It's like watching that ball with the string game where you hammer it with the paddle ball. It's like watching lawn darts. As a lawn dart plunks right into his fucking thin skull. All right, that's good. I think that's plenty for this one. Fuck this guy. Fuck Joe Biden, piece of shit. What else we got here? This is. Oh yeah. All right. So this is from Bernie motherfucking Sanders at the debate where he challenges Biden on his role in the bankruptcy bill. Here he is.
This is a little bit about leadership as well. Joe talked about bankruptcy. Joe, if my memory is correct, you helped write that bankruptcy bill.
I did not.
He did not. I did not. A lie. A fucking lie. So here's some footage from way back when. This is Senator Orrin Hatch. Actually, it's short for Orenthal James O.J. Simpson Hatch. So he, Hatch from Lost. Orenthal James O.J. Simpson Hatch from Lost. Sorry, I should delete that. This is here. It's a little boring. All these fuckheads are boring. But he's talking about getting this bankruptcy bill finally passed, the one that makes it impossible to go through bankruptcy, to put college debt into bankruptcy, which is just a massive giveaway to these predator companies. Biden works for them. He is them. He is the politician wing, one of the God, that's horrible syntax there, wasn't it? He is one of the politician wings of the big corporate industry, especially finance and banking. He is Wall Street's bitch.
Senators Biden and Carper have worked tirelessly for
Senators Biden and Carper have worked tirelessly for
Senators Biden and Carper have worked tirelessly for years on this legislation. And they've taken
for years. Senator Biden has been slaving away at this for more years than I can remember, because I'm very old. My name is Orrin Hatch. I'm a piece of shit.
some tough votes to get it done, and I admire them for it. You would expect senators from Delaware, which is the corporate state.
There you go. Senators from Delaware, the corporate state. Companies incorporate in Delaware all the time. A vast majority of them are not from Delaware. Companies do it to avoid paying taxes in the states that they operate, because they have very friendly, and they also have very friendly mediation and like judicial rules for incorporating. Delaware is a tax haven. It's absurd that it's the smallest state. Sorry, is Rhode Island smaller than Delaware? Yes. And it is a huge tax haven. It's an onshore tax haven for American corporations. And any company that incorporates there, I have questions about, especially if they don't live and they don't work in Delaware. Why the hell? How come like taxes and things aren't based on distance? Like even for like landlords, like if you own, you should get lower taxes if your headquarters are close to where you operate, to force companies to be small. We don't want companies to be too big. I think large companies there's maybe certain industries where it makes more sense to have large companies versus not, but we want more competition and more business to keep a market healthy, right? That's how that works. If you want to encourage people to grow. And so I think they should tie taxes to a distance. And it's something that a random thought I had a week ago, and now I'm telling you, because I have no idea if it makes any sense or not. But it probably does. Here's the Delaware state.
From Delaware, which is the corporate state.
And he says it like as if, like, did you know? Oh, yeah, the corporate state. Fucking unbelievable.
To do their best to get this bill through, but they did.
A few moments.
Okay, now it's Mitch McConnell, a young, spry, healthy-looking one, not like the aged, lumpy, microwave tater tot fuckhead version we get to see today. This guy who looks like if you left an albino frog out in the sun and it turned into Mitch. I don't know. So here we go. At the very end is where we get to
A few moments ago, we completed action on the bankruptcy bill.
Yes.
I want to particularly thank all of our colleagues for the work on the bill. In particular, Senator Grassley and Senator Hatch, Senator Sessions, and others on both sides of the aisle who've been working on this legislation for these many years. 7 or 8 years, I was told by Senator Biden.
7 or 8 years by Senator Biden, I was told, please feed me another bucket of foreskins. I need foreskins. I need the juicy, drippy foreskins, but no black foreskins. No black foreskins. No Asian foreskins. So one more time with Bernie here.
Joe talked about bankruptcy. Joe, if my memory is correct, you helped write that bankruptcy bill.
I did not.
Fuck you, Joe Biden. All right, now here's Joe Biden. This is the same one. Let's skip that. That is not going to be in the show. And this one, Biden's on Jake Tapper, the Tap Master, with I don't know. This is around the last week of March sometime. So here we go. We can tell time by if you look at the graphic on screen, the pandemic. At this point, there were only 646 deaths in the United States with 50,000 plus cases. Now I think it's over 400,000 cases and I want to say over 14,000 deaths. That number's probably a little outdated by the time you're hearing this. So There you go. Good country. Great country. Up on our way to the 6 figures. And then Trump is going to tell everybody that we're proud to have only killed 100,000 people. He's going to take credit for only killing 100 or 200,000 people. I think the number is going to still be much higher than that. And I predict that it'll be probably 50% of the nation, of at least 50% of the global deaths are going to be Americans. Because the one worst possible thing you could be during a global pandemic like this is an American in terms of survivability of this problem. It's utterly, this is a crime against humanity is what we're living through right now. And it's so bad. Trump is restricting, in fact, they're helping send supplies to for-profit makers, not just use their distribution channels, but so that they can then have bidding contests and price gouge. I think we're going to find out, and there's those senators that were selling off stock and buying stock in like personal protective equipment makers, and we're going to find out all the different ways, hopefully we'll find out all the different ways that these rotten fucking people have taken advantage of this opportunity for themselves to make a little bit more money. Jared Kushner. Okay, sorry, I'm getting okay. So here's Jake Tapper asking if he's been tested.
Have you been tested for the coronavirus?
No, I have not been tested for the coronavirus. I've had, thank God.
Is confusion and memory loss part of unless that's a symptom?
I had no symptoms that I'm aware of. Doesn't mean that can't happen.
A piece of my brain fell out of my nose this morning while I was shaving my blonde hair legs with an old-timey razor.
But I have not been tested.
I want to ask you about your presidential campaign and your rival, Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders is ramping up for the next round of primaries, including...
Cough. He coughs into his hand.
Including in the state of...
Okay, well, there's a little more to this, but I got some coffee stuff here going on here real quick.
No, I have not. I'm putting together sometime in April.
Given the corona...
I have not, though. I have not talked to any individual.
You got a cough.
Excuse me.
That was a big one. You got a whole breath out of that one. It starts with the big breathe in, and then because you really want to launch the virus as far as you can, and then Jake Tapper actually gives him the business.
Excuse me.
You're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know, sir. I learned that actually covering your White House.
Actually, that's true. But fortunately, I'm alone in my home. But that's okay.
All right.
No, that's true. Right. I cough into I've got one of my assistant's elbows to cough into. That's what I do. It's just, where am I? Are you? How did I had a donut. Where's Poochie? Where's Poochie, my dog? Grandpa, your dog Poochie. Sorry. I'm out of it today. Honestly, I feel really off my game. Because I don't do this fucking often enough. I need to be a little bit more on top of this podcast. I should be doing this like an hour every week or two. I mean, every what? See? Exactly. Point proven. All right. So Biden got up to his old hijinks again on the 6th of, I want to say April. This was just a few days ago. And this has been going around and was flagged and put on Twitter, and it's total gibberish. I think I know what he's trying to say, but so I went ahead and added some graphics, some text to it, just to make it easier. Put this on my Twitter. I'm embarrassed to have the thinking where you go like, oh, this one's gonna go so big, it's gonna get so huge. I hate that I think about that. Like, I know everybody. How do you not think that, or how do you not have some sort of thought about something going big online or whatever? I mean, I'm putting stuff online so that people can see it. Like, it's kind of built into the expectation calculations, but I always feel like a piece of shit when it, both for thinking it and then when it doesn't happen. Because it's like, just don't think about it. You're just better. I hope it happens, but don't even think about it. So anyway, this is what I put out there, and I think the text helps it make a little more sense. First we're going to watch it without. Here we go.
It's a case where we cannot let this. We've never allowed any crisis from the Civil War straight through to the pandemic of 17, all the way around 16. We have never let our democracy second fiddle, way that we can both have a democracy and elections and at the same time correct the public health.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Look at me flexing my voting muscles. Fuck yeah, baby. Give me a lever and let me pull it. We don't pull levers to vote, but give me a big pen and let me fill out a little circle. And then have a mild anxiety attack because I think I might have left a little tiny bit of the circle slightly not too opaque, not opaque enough. All right, here it is with text. This is just a little bit easier for everybody to get a sense of what the fuck he's saying.
It's a case where we cannot let this. We've never allowed any crisis from the Civil War straight through to the pandemic of 17, all the way around 16. We have never let our democracy second fiddle, way that we can both have a democracy and elections and at the same time correct the public health.
Yeah, baby. That's the stuff. Presidential. Oh, I just want them. Put them in the White House. Can we just hurry up and get there? Second fiddle, baby. Come on. Get on board. How do you not want to vote for this fucking guy? God damn it. I want to be persuaded to vote for Biden. I'm pissed that I have to. I'm fucking pissed about this. A lot of people right now, I pay attention to lefty and socialist and democratic socialist people and Marxism's types and liberals and mainstream media people and a few conservatives on my stream. This is my self-selected Twitter bubble that I plug my head into all day long, and it's probably not very healthy. And many folks I see are refusing to vote for Biden at all. They're saying no. They're saying I won't. I will never. You can't make me. And how dare you think that I should? And I think there's probably an intelligent case to be made for not voting for Biden. There's also a case to be made for voting against Trump and for why a Biden I was talking about this a little bit earlier, but like why a Biden would be better than Trump. If you care about reducing suffering, you should vote for Biden and hope that he wins. Because it'll be worse to die in a horrible fire than in a small fire than with a kind of cancer that will be very painful. It's like this lesser of two evils. I haven't made up my mind. I'm leaning as far as I'm probably going to vote for Biden because the way I think about it, because I don't know if I can. We'll see in the moment finally when it gets there. We got a long way to go to get to November, so I'm not trying to. I don't have to make up my mind right now. Another 4 years of Trump would be so devastating for the world in ways that we might not ever recover from. I don't even know if we're even going to have an election this year. The way they're using the virus to do voter suppression. I mean, they're fucking using death to keep people from going to the polls. Like an invisible, call it an enemy, an invisible menace that kills people. And they know that, and it's out there, and they still force the election. The Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court stepped in and overruled the Wisconsin governor and said that you guys have to do, you can't let the absentees take, it's this bullshit with the absentee ballots that they weren't allowing them to be counted if they came in late, but and so they had the primary in-person voting. And all the other ways that the Republicans are going to cheat. There's no consequences for them being terrible. They're they're doing insider trading around the pandemic. They're forcing government-funded goods into private hands, not forcing it, but they're putting it into private hands and then running up the price with bidding wars for emergency supplies. The ineptitude is incredible. It's everywhere, and there's no consequences. So why would they have the election? Particularly if it's starting to look like Trump might lose, which he guarantee he would against Bernie. A Bernie campaign would have been just a glorious thing to watch. I really believe. I mean, there would have probably been some obnoxious ups and downs in terms of like press cycles and stuff like that. But the polling for Bernie would have been enormous, and it would have just continued to grow because that's a hallmark of Bernie is that when people meet him, and are introduced to his policies, they like him because he's not bullshitting. He's a weird old crank. He's pissed off. He's a very intelligent person, too. He's not thoughtless about how he engages politics. He's obviously has to be. Nobody would have the career he's had if he wasn't. But no one's going to be passionate or excited to go vote for Biden, to show up and vote for that doddering old idiot. So the chance that we'll even have an election, I think, are pretty. I mean, I don't know what would stop Trump. You know, I know it's not up to him. I know it's like the Congress is actually the ones that has that, and you see they're like, oh yeah, well it's not up to Trump. Yeah, what are they gonna do if he says it, if he makes them do it? I mean, there's all sorts of pressure points within the government apparatus as far as who's gonna. Is this ever gonna end with like a cop deciding to arrest Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump or something like that because he's refusing to follow the laws? I mean, he just fired like 7 or got rid of 7, I think, inspectors general, including the one that was supposed to oversee the distribution of the $500 billion that was part of the bailout package. So now they just get to hand out $500 billion to their corporate buddies. $500 billion fucking dollars to rich people who don't need money, to corporations. These immortal entities, these immortal legal humans that are psychopaths, that just exist to be fed, to consume, and to consume, and to make money, and to make money, and to make money. This disgusting is like it's frightening what corporatism is unleashed upon the people. These are monsters that will chew through anything they have to make a little bit more money. And we're all acting like these are people, the CEOs and the executives and those that run them, that they're worthy of our praise and our admiration. It's horrible. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah, I can't remember. So I don't know. We're wrapping it up here. I honestly, I don't think that Biden's going to be president. I think that his failings are going to become so obvious. And now that the spotlight is going to be solely directed at him, not just from the leftists that are going to be kind of pointing out the flaws. And it's kind of weird. You're like, I'll dog on Biden because I see how much bullshit is going on here. But you also at the same time are like, well, am I helping Trump? Is this working for him? Is this hurting our candidate? So maybe you're less incentivized to do so. But I see it honestly. This guy's a horrible person. Trump is like, if you took, I tweeted this, like it's like if you took every evil ism, racism, sexism, patriarchyism, all the toxic bullshit, all the horrible traits that can either exist in a single individual or across a distressed population like the American people, all the bad traits that are possible, and wrapped them up into one person and made a Voltron of evil. You got Trump. And the world is challenging us to defeat it in order to move past these things that are holding us all back. Racism and sexism and capitalism. All these things are holding us back and making so many lives worse and causing environmental collapse, which is going to kill everybody. They have to be defeated. And answering it with someone like Bernie, who wouldn't be the perfect solution, but it'd be the start of a hope of a solution. But instead, we're answering it with Biden, who is the same thing. He is all the worst traits, but from the left. So it's not as bad. It's not as bad. Like a liberal rapist versus a Republican rapist. Well, the Republican one's a lot more aggressive and has a much bigger track record of more women. Biden, credible, but fewer. Is he as beholden to corporate interests? Well, Trump is the most corrupt and disgusting person in his cabinet, and everybody around him in his orbit are complete scumbags and have been since the very beginning, and that was completely predictable. Well, it's true about Biden, too. Slightly less so. He's just like slightly less. He's just like a less virulent strain of Trumpism, with the occasional shout out to like unions or something, and maybe abortion or, But what Biden is going to do, because he's buddies with all these Republicans, he's friends with all of them, and he's real big on like, they're not bad people, we don't need to, he's going to lead the rehabilitation of the Republican brand. The Trump being the president and taking over the Republican Party, as Lindsey Graham said, I don't have audio for it, but he said that it will ruin the Republican Party and they will deserve it. And it should. I mean, look how this country's being run. The conservative ideology and its neoliberal buddies, they're not mutually exclusive, they're quite close. Corporatism and all these ways, and we are rapidly heading off the cliff into decline. And all the suffering and pain that is ignored and neglected. And we're just moving into this misinformation economy where, whatever narrative they can spin is all that really matters. The truth doesn't mean shit. Especially if they can spin different narratives that are contradictory, that serves them because it makes you confused. When you're confused, you're tired. When you're tired, you give up. Being exhausted, people just relent. They just say, I can't keep this going. And so, like, the thing with Trump versus Biden, Trump is so much worse by a lot. And Biden is terrible. But Biden has corruption. I think personally, he is. If you take money from billionaires and millionaires and corporations, you are corrupt. They are buying something. They are giving you money to purchase you for favorable results in legislation for them. But the problem is that the media won't accurately compare the two. They won't. It's not like there's going to be a very a scale of this. Like Biden is like a 3-story house of corruption, and Trump is like a 60-story tower. Biden's might be a little bit higher than 3-story house. He's a 5-story walk up. I don't know. So what the media is going to do though is they're going to act like they're both just corrupt. In fact, they'll probably lean in on the Biden stuff in order to avoid the accusation that they're biased, which is one of the ways that the Republican and the right wing has done an incredibly effective job of working the refs. Not that the media is not captured by the establishment anyway. So in that sense, that might mitigate it too, but they're going to be covering, they're going to do the vetting that they didn't do before the election, before Bernie dropped out. And they're going to make it seem, in the average viewer's mind, and a lot of people don't pay attention during the primaries. I think more and more people pay attention than before because Trump is such a attention grabber and a threat, and it feels like we have to be engaged in politics way more than ever before. But on presidential years, the average person, they really dial in once the conventions are over and everything is finally set, and the actual campaign, like the final stretch of the 2.5 year long process, which is absurd, is nearing its conclusion in early November. That's when people pay attention, and what they're going to see is two corrupt guys, just like they did with Hillary and her her emails. Who gives a fuck about her stupid emails? Firstly, I cared a lot more about her making money from all the speeches she gave. Her and Bill made like over $100 million in bribes. In speeches from big companies during, I'm not sure if it was while she was Secretary of State, but after she was a senator, after his presidency for sure, obviously. And, Biden's we're going to hear the word Burismo. They're already hitting at it. The Republican base has already been well conditioned to look at Biden as the corrupt one, look at Biden as the sexual assaulter, look at Biden as it's so stupid to put him up against Trump. Every single thing about Trump that would have been a liability is now defanged. It's no longer anywhere near the liability it was. Because now we have to also talk about Biden's corruption. And the media plays into that. They're not going to represent the scale accurately at all. And it's going to be really ugly. It's going to be really stupid. It's going to be so fucking stupid to sit here and watch these two old examples. It's like it's like humanity is facing a trial, like in a video game. It's like these are the final bosses. We had a boss fight, and now we have two bosses. It's like, oh crap, we got another boss. He's not as strong, but he's still bad. Now we got to get through this. Even if we are fortunate and Biden becomes president, oh God, it hurts. It hurts to even think about it. We'll have this corporatist, lying conservative Democrat in power. And he's not going to do anything near. He just released his plan to try to win back Bernie folks, saying that he'll lower the Medicare buy-in age, which is currently 65, to 60. And there's another thing in there too. Oh, forgiving student debt underneath some threshold. Nowhere near what Bernie was proposing. I don't even think it's what Elizabeth Warren was for. So, not enough. Sorry, buddy. That's what I was saying earlier. I genuinely want to be persuaded. I want to hear the positive case for Joe Biden. Not just he's not Trump. I don't just want to hear he's better than Trump. That's what I've been saying this whole time. I'm going to grapple with that this whole podcast until the election. Because I don't think I get why people are so angry. I understand all the anger. People that are so angry about this that they won't vote for Biden, I understand that anger. People that tell those people that, hey, if you don't vote for Biden, you're actually voting for Trump, and that pisses me off, I understand that anger too. I'm angry at the system that forces us to be in this, that makes it so impossible for someone like Sanders to rise up. It's incredible that he got as close as he did and as far as he did. The amount of influence he's had and this is kind of cliche, but it's absolutely true in my viewpoint, in changing what is okay to talk about, in shifting people's imagination into these gears. And actually, I think Andrew Yang did a little bit to this with the UBI by raising the consciousness about that program. But the amount of good that Bernie's done, in a way, he's effectively achieved. It's not enough, unfortunately, but he's achieved a lot of his, or at least partially achieved a lot of his goals, because what he fights for and the progressive policies that he's pushed for have largely become more and more mainstream, even though they're still not, they're part of the current Democratic Party platform, but they're still not anywhere near enough. And nor will they fight for it the way he would have fought for it. They're not going to mobilize a movement behind it. Obama got in office running on hope, and then he immediately disbanded the movement that got him in office, and he appointed, standard neoliberal apparatchiks to run the place, and we're all worse off for it. So this is really bad. I mean, like, the best case scenario is that we die slower, is really fucking bad. And I want to, what I'm hoping to do, just from paying attention and reading about it, is I want to be able to articulate the argument for why you shouldn't vote for Biden. There's actually, I haven't seen enough. I shouldn't even be talking about it yet, but like, there's a case to be made for refusing to participate in a system that fundamentally will do nothing but harm to you. I don't know if that's the same as accelerationism. Again, see, this is like why I want to parse it out a little bit more, but I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. I get it. I get why people don't want to vote for him. I don't want to vote for him whatsoever. But if you told me, I have an enormous amount of privilege being a white guy who isn't going to be rounded up. I'm not going to be harassed because I'm a Muslim teenage girl wearing a hijab. I'm not going to be harassed because of my skin color. I'm safe when I'm near the cops. Well, to be honest, I don't know how safe anybody feels near the cops, but I'm not. Someone tweeted, Batman makes sure that his chin is clear so that the cops know he's white. Oh, that's pretty good. I didn't quote it very accurately, but I believe that I owe the people that are on the front lines, the children in the cages, and that who knows how much Biden will do to alleviate all that. But the people who actually face the material degradation and impacts of Trump that we can alleviate their suffering with a Biden presidency is utterly fucking enraging as that is, because it's lesser of two evil voting. And that's what they got you, man. They force it on you. In fact, let's play this video real quick. This is Lawrence O'Donnell way back when. So he's this MSNBC host. The lion. He's a lion. He's got blonde hair. He's one of these grown men with blonde hair. Grow up. Blonde hair is for children and women. Okay? Grow the fuck up. If you're over 50 and you're a male and you have blonde hair, get rid of it. I'm doing that because I'm blonde. I'm bald, but you know, my hair color is skin. But actually, I'm growing out my hair now. I feel like a wildling. It feels pretty good. So he's got his MSNBC show. He's an old guy now. He's got he's a night talker guy. I saw him being a complete piece of shit at Bernie about after Rachel Maddow interviewed him. She gave him like a really hard interview, went after him, and of course Biden was afraid. Biden did a softball interview with Lawrence O'Donnell with one of his buddies. And here's a great example. This is, I think I saw it said 8 years ago. I don't know exactly what this is, but so he's been like a political guy, not just a TV talking head. All these people exist within the similar systems. They all kind of are creatures of the same enchanted forest of evil. So here's Lawrence O'Donnell talking about how leftists and people on the left don't need to be, how the Democratic establishment doesn't need to regard the left as important. I know I said that terribly, but just listen to it. It's good. This is very interesting.
If you want to pull the major party that is closest to the way you're thinking, to what you're thinking, you must show them that you're capable of not voting for them. If you don't show them you're capable of not voting for them, they don't have to listen to you. I promise you that. I worked within the Democratic Party. I didn't listen or have to listen to anything on the left while I was working in the Democratic Party because the left had nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. You got no options. What are you going to do? Nothing? Vote for Jill Stein? Start a third party? Like, we could have a more institutionalized third parties in the Democratic and the two-party system. It's a one-company system. They all work for the same billionaires. They're just two different wings of these. They're two different extensions of the will of the billionaire class, of the ruling class. But he's right. If you're unless you withhold your vote, they have no reason to pay you any mind at all. Because if you vote for them, what's the difference of what they do? They'll just be slightly better than Trump, and you're desperate to avoid hurting people because you're a bleeding heart, empathy, caring person like I am. It's a tough time to be alive for the sensitive. And you get to just, that they'll vote for you. They don't have to win you over. You're going to try to help someone by preventing a Trump presidency, even though a Biden presidency would also mean a lot of people get killed. I'm going to play that again. Not right now, but we're going to hear that over and over because he's describing exactly why, it's your only leverage, not voting. But I think it also makes sense to say, well, that helps Trump get elected. And fuck this system that allows that, I think the answer, it was always kind of a moonshot to get Bernie in, to sort of bypass the entire system, use the current party apparatus to put in power someone who has convictions and principles and is honest and decent. Not perfect, but far better than any other politician out there in the history of my life, for sure. The history of my life, in my life, for sure. Sorry, I had a technical glitch there, but I was saying that, so Bernie getting in would have been wonderful, but all the DNC, the establishment forces, they all got, they pulled their big maneuver on Super Tuesday, where they got all the other candidates to drop out and endorse Biden. This fucking idiot that's been flopping his dead corpse throughout the campaign across the finish line. And now he's, that didn't make any sense, I know. But now he's going to be the candidate, the nominee. This utterly horrible choice. And so what do we do from our angle, from the left? We got to build locally. We got to start small, and it's happening. It's already started, but it's not enough yet. It's going to be a while. And younger people, millennials, people under 45, whatever the generation after millennials is, Gen Z or whatever, generation apocalypse, they are very much against capitalism and persuaded by socialism and Marxism and everything else. So that's the future, and we have to start building it up as much as we can. And that's probably going to be hopefully something obviously I'm going to be paying attention to electoral politics a lot and to national stories, but there's a lot of local activity that is required, and it's less sexy, it's less interesting, it's not as good for ratings and clicks, but it's necessary. We're fucked without it, and man, it's too bad that this opportunity is being missed here, that we're not going to have a Bernie presidency. And not just to mention the foreign policy differences, that would be incredible. Biden is certainly going to get people killed in military engagements and using the military as a tool for corporate extraction for American empire, the modern phase of colonialism. And Bernie would have done a lot to upend that. And that's a huge loss. That's a major loss globally. So, all right. Well, I hope this one was good. I don't know. I can't tell. Probably had some ups and downs. So lots of Biden there. We'll be hearing more about Biden. More stories, more stuff coming up. Thanks for watching. If you're into Westworld or Tiger King, my other channel, Suck Professor on YouTube, is my roommate and I have been doing some podcasts about Westworld and Tiger King. We did one about Tiger King, but we do like a Westworld review, and we have a nice fun time. Nice little audience over there. It's very nice to have those folks paying attention. So that's cool. And thanks to anybody from there who's over here now watching this politics stuff that I'm fumbling my way through. But that's what we got. Thanks for finding it. Hope you're staying safe. Things are weird. Maybe we'll get the kind of apocalypse where there's lots of fishing, the one where we just all get to go live these halcyonic lifestyle next to some puddle of water, have an attractive spouse, maybe several, ukulele, someone makes up a religion. It'll be kind of fun. Start coming up with weird names. So yeah, that's a Thompson fish. That's called a bass. Nope, I am the Lord. So hopefully this is just the first and last global pandemic of our lifetimes, but it's probably just the first. So at least we'll be more prepared for the next one. At least us humans, us regular folks, will have our mask plan. Ugh. It's what a nightmare. This whole thing is so fucking crazy. It just makes me it's so upsetting. So take care of yourself. Don't pay too close attention to the news. I'm doing that for you and regurgitating it into this podcast for your benefit. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. Hit me up on Twitter, whatever. And don't forgive yourself for being lazy. It's okay right now. Everything's scary and shitty and weird. You don't have to be productive all the time. That's your capitalism training. You've been brainwashed by the system that we all live in. That if you're not productive, you're useless. And that's bullshit. So you are useful. Okay? Keep that up. All right? You have self-worth. You have worth. It's nice to hear, isn't it? Yeah, I know. Okay, goodbye. Thank you. Take care. And remember, stay safe.